What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about some of my favorite hidden tips, tricks, and features inside of my Tesla. Some of them are going to be more hidden, and then some of them are just going to be things you may not know that your vehicle can do, or things that are hidden inside of extra menus that may or may not be turned on. But let's go ahead and get started inside the navigation. Now, if you guys have used Tesla navigation before, you know it's absolutely buttery smooth. But there's a couple different things you can do in here that are kind of hidden features or things you just might not know about. One is this little sidebar here. This has all kinds of different functions on it. If you've only ever seen the map in this kind of view with more of the graphic style, you can always press the Earth button and that will switch it to satellite imagery style of the map here, so you can see things a little bit more clearly. You can turn on and off the traffic maps. You can turn off points of interest there, and the points of interest now have a little kind of white outline around them. That's a relatively new feature there. And then you can also see charging stations around you by hitting the charging button. And then one relatively new thing that you may not know about is they added a weather overlay. So if you press that, it's going to zoom you out to where it can actually see some weather, which we have none around us, thankfully, but we've got some down here in the south a little bit, and then up north in kind of Canada, North Dakota area. So really neat. You can see kind of a live overview of that. Really cool feature there. But there's a couple different little quick tips and things that you can do inside of this navigation. So inside of the little navigate bar here, tons of functionality. Obviously you can go to home and work quickly, which I'll show you that in just a sec. But you also have all your recents here, favorites. You've got a charging button you can push, like I said, one over here, to get to quick charging there. And you can sort between slow chargers and then fast chargers there. And then you can do hungry if you want to see places around you to eat, if you're in an unfamiliar area, or you just want to mix it up a little bit. And you can also do this lucky button here, and that's going to take you to like points of interest. We've got on here all kinds of stuff: Louisville Nature Center, Waterfront Park, different tours, some boats and things like that. It's given me some weird results in the past. At one point, it showed me the Louisville can opener, which is just a bridge downtown that semi trucks get stuck on all the time. So we call it the can opener. So it'll give you all kinds of really funny stuff, again, if you're in an area that you're unfamiliar with. But this little home and work, you can tap those to quickly take you to one of those preset destinations. And if you ever do want to change it, you can press and hold on it, and then it will let you change your address, whatever you want it to be. But the little tip that I use all the time is up here on the navigation bar. If you just swipe down on it, it's going to quickly take you to home. Really quick and easy. So what I'll do is I'll just get in my car from work, sit down, swipe down, and then press and hold FSD to get going. Super seamless. Now, I have heard people say you can like swipe one direction or the other to get from home and work. I have not had any success with that. Like if I try and swipe right, it still does home. Try and swipe left, still does home. So your results may vary, but really cool little quick and easy tip there, just to quickly navigate to your preset home destination. One other really cool thing that you can do that I do all the time is you can share locations with your vehicle from your phone. So I've got the map pulled up here and I've got a hotel. If you hit the little share button here at the bottom, you can swipe over it until you see Tesla. You can tap that and it will automatically load, and then it will send it directly to your Tesla. And the really cool thing about this is if you have multiple Teslas, it will send it to whichever Tesla you've opened the most recently. So if I wanted to additionally share this location with the Cybertruck, I could go into my app here, swipe over to the Cybertruck, exit out of the app, go back to maps, hit the share button again, click Tesla, and it will automatically share it with the Cybertruck. And it's gonna share it with your vehicle and it will pop right up here. And then it'll say sent from phone, drive to begin, give you some ratings, hours. You can look through a couple pictures and things like that. Really quick and easy. I use this all the frickin' time, especially when somebody sends you an address that's new to you. You just press and hold on it from your phone, go ahead and share it with the Tesla. Super cool and seamless integration there. Now the climate control system is packed full of all of the functionality that you'd expect, but there are a couple little extra things that are really neat. But a lot of people don't know what these special modes here up at the top actually do. And they're kind of hidden out of the way. They used to be a little more apparent, but now you almost miss them if you're not looking for them, kind of how they're hidden at the top if you're just looking at your climate control stuff. But really helpful modes here. So keep mode is going to keep your climate control running even when you leave the car. So this can be really helpful if, you know, it's a really hot day or a really cold day or something like that. You would just want to run in a store really quick, come back to your car, you want to keep it nice and toasty or nice and cool. Really nice feature to have there. Camp mode here will keep your car on until your battery reaches 20%, but Sentry mode, battery alarm, and walkaway lock will be disabled. So if you do want to camp inside your car, you want to keep that climate control going, you can definitely use that. My favorite mode though is this dog mode here. Super, super helpful. This is one of the most underrated Tesla features. So we'll put a little graphic on screen, have a little dog on it, say my owner will be back soon, don't worry, this is a climate controlled cabin, here's the temperature, and it will allow you to access the cabin camera when you're outside of the car. So I can pull up my phone anytime, check and see how my dog is doing right from there. Super, super handy feature, especially if you've got big dogs, you can't take them in and out of stores and things like that. Very, very nice feature to have. I use it all the time. But another little handy feature is this little climate shortcut button. So if you press here, you can obviously use these arrows to move the temperature up and down, but you can also just press and slide to change the temperature. So you don't even have to tap the little arrows, which is really helpful. But you also get this little quick shortcut bar. You can easily defrost your windows there, turn on your heated seat. Now the slider shortcuts work on the climate control, but they also work for your audio settings. Plus they open up an extra little audio menu that has some really nice functionality hidden in there. So you can do that if you don't want to use your scroll wheel or if your passenger wants to do it. But one other really nice handy feature inside of this little volume menu here, if you press these sliders here, you get all your audio settings. That's a pretty standard thing. You can move the balance around inside the car as well. You can turn off explicit content, but the really nice one is here in sources. So if you click that, you can show and hide media sources. So if any of these are ones you don't use, like let's say you're not an Apple Music person or an Apple Podcast person, you can go ahead and turn those off. Then inside of this little menu here where all of your apps are, you will no longer see that as an option, which just helps clean up the app dock here. Now, speaking of that app dock, this whole bottom bar here is completely customizable. So you can see I've got my most used apps down here. So Spotify, the dash cam save button here, Apple Podcasts and Apple Music. Then there's a little, icon here where you can open up your whole app dock there. And then you also have your two most recent apps. So I've got Browser and the Toy Box here. But this can be completely customized. So if you just press and hold on any of these icons, you can drag in whichever ones are your most used. So if you want to see the energy more often, you can drop that down and you can have up to 5 here. So if you try and add more, it's going to kick the last one out. And you can also add your little heated seat button here. This is the only one that'll let you put here. Like if you try and put rear defrost, it doesn't do it. It only lets you put that under the apps thing, which is always an option if you use that a lot. But you can remove the heated seat if you don't want that on there too, if you don't use it enough. But I like to keep it there just in case. But any of these little customization options can be dropped down in your My Apps as well. So customize that to your liking. Now there's a lengthy list of voice commands. Pretty much anything the car can do, you can tell it to do through voice commands. And there's a couple little funny Easter eggs. You can say some really just mature ones like open butthole, and the charge port will go ahead and open right up for you. They even threw in some like movie tie-in Easter eggs or TV show tie-in Easter eggs. Like there's a Rick and Morty Easter egg, so you can say, keep summer safe. Sentry mode is turned on if it wasn't already. There's even Christmas tie-ins, like you could say, ho, ho, ho. It's gonna go ahead and turn on Santa mode. You get to see the little Model 3 sleigh there. You get some Christmas music, you get your turn signals turned into jingle bells, all kinds of goofy stuff like that. Obviously, this is accessible in Toy Box as well, under Santa mode here, but just one of the things, Tesla has to do that kind of stuff. Now, I've never seen Monty Python, so the Easter egg kind of goes over my head. Probably not the best person to even talk about it, but one thing you can do, go into the software and you go to the name of your vehicle and you change it. There's a couple different ones you can change it to, but the one I know is Patsy. If you change it to that foot will pop up on screen and make a farting noise. Again, I've never seen Monty Python, so the reference is kind of lost on me, but Tesla is always adding in these goofy little Easter eggs like that. Now this one is one of my favorites. You can customize this left scroll wheel. So how you want to do this, go into settings, go to display here for some reason, and then it's here under scroll wheel function. So I've got mine set to fold mirrors, but there's all different options of things you can do. I think save dash cam is a really helpful one. If you have a performance model, acceleration mode is a really nice one to use. I have that on the Cybertruck because I switch between those drive modes all the time. But what you can do then is if you just press and hold on the left scroll wheel, it's going to pop up here, mirrors folded, but you can also go back with the left scroll wheel and then scroll down and do any of the other functions. So all this can be done without taking your hand off the wheel, which is really nice. You do have to look over at the screen, but we'll ignore that for now. but we could do something like temperature, select that, and then quickly and easily scroll through, change the temperature. That's a really nice one as well. All kinds of cool stuff. And if you don't want to do like third-party changes, like any of Enhance Auto's products or anything like that, then being able to customize that left scroll wheel is very handy. Now, there's so many features here inside the settings that I think are really, really handy and helpful to know. One of them that's new, that's super helpful, is being able to move your passenger seat forward and backwards using these arrows on screen here. I made a video almost a year ago talking about things that I wish that my Tesla had, like little features that I wish they'd add to the software. And this ability to adjust the seat back and forth was one of the big ones on that list. So I'm super glad Tesla added that. Let's hop into the settings though and talk about some really helpful features that are kind of buried in this settings menu. One of the big ones that's really helpful, it's not hidden or anything, it's pretty well publicized, but it's this auto shift system. And basically how this works is you really never have to swipe back and forth on the screen, except for very select scenarios. But you can have it off, you can have it out of park or on, which I like it on. Let's take a look at what that actually does when you have it on. So how auto shift works is if you're buckled in, sitting in a spot, you can just tap your foot on the brake. It'll automatically put you in drive or reverse based on what's around you. It can recognize there's something in front of me, so it put me in reverse. I'll go ahead and start backing up by pressing acceleration pedal. And then once I get into a spot where I want to go forward, it'll say activate drive by turning the wheel back and pressing the brake. So I can do that, it puts me in drive. Automatically I can go forward, but if I go ahead and go in reverse again, if there's something around me, and this is kind of where that out of park or all the time comes into play, and I'm backing up like this, it'll automatically give me the option to go into drive again, even though I'm not coming out of park. I'm just backing up in from a normal situation. So really, really cool, helpful feature. It just makes it to where you don't have to swipe on the screen all the time if that's not your speed, but of course you always can. Or you can use something like Enhance Auto's Sexy Knob or Sexy Stocks to enable all of that if you would just rather do it manually. Another really helpful little tip is you can actually move this blind spot camera around when you're using your turn signal. So there's a couple different places that it can go. You can't just kind of freely put it wherever you want, but it's really helpful if you're using full screen FSD to be able to move this out of the way. Or if you're not and you're using the split screen mode, obviously if you're using FSD on this side or autopilot on this side, it's going to block it. So being able to move that even down here or over here is really helpful. But hopping back into the settings, a couple things that I really like to turn on are here under safety. Can go all the way down, and you've got this glove box pin button. There's also pin to drive as an added safety feature if you want to add that, and that's exactly what it sounds like. But this glove box pin is super, super helpful because the Tesla glove box is not locked on its own. Now, it's really difficult to open even if it's not locked, but this glove box pin adds an extra layer of security there. So it's exactly what it sounds like. You go to controls, you try to drop that glove box, it's going to ask for that pin and it will not open until you enter that pin. And then up just a little bit from that glove box pin, this blind spot collision warning chime is a relatively new feature and it's not always turned on by default. Make sure you have that turned on. Super nice. They finally added the ability when you are in reverse, it will put little red lines here if there's somebody oncoming in your blind spot, but this chime will actually make a noise to give you that extra little bit of warning that, hey, somebody's coming across in your blind spot. So definitely turn that on. And then another one down here in the autopilot settings that is absolutely fantastic. It's maybe one of my favorite Tesla features, period. It is this green traffic light chime. Again, exactly what it sounds like, but when you're not using FSD, it still works. And it's super helpful because you'll be sitting at a light, you know, maybe you're texting, maybe you're looking out the window, doing something. You don't want to be the person that gets honked at. So it does exactly what it says. About a beat after the light turns green, it's going to go ding and let you know, hey, you're ready to go ahead and start going. Now, another one that you guys probably already know about, it is way, way, way down here under safety, and it is Joe mode. This one's really helpful, especially if you're somebody that likes to make FSD videos. It turns all of the like beeping and dinging way down. This is super nice. It applies even to the turn signals, so take a listen here. That's with Joe mode on. Turn Joe mode off. Way, way, way louder. This is also great if you have kids and you don't want the, you know, little dings and beeps and things to wake them up. Very helpful. Also, this lower volume in reverse, this actually wasn't turned on for me. I just turned it on the other day. Again, a really good safety feature. Now, no hidden features or tips and tricks videos for Tesla are complete without talking about service mode. You go into the software menu here, and then you're going to want to press and hold on the model of your vehicle here. until this pops up and you're going to enter the access code service. Hit OK. It's going to give you a little warning here. We'll go ahead and hop in anyway. And basically what service mode does is gives you access to all of your vehicle's diagnostics. Now it's called service mode for a reason. This is made and designed for Tesla service technicians to use, but you can see some really cool vehicle information in here. So we can go to like our charging system, see if everything's functioning right. We can go into our battery, see how our cells are filled up, which is really cool. Your drive unit status, all that kind of stuff right there. So we can see I have a single rear motor there. Speakers is really neat. You can see the locations of all of your speakers, see your brakes, how well those are functioning. So much vehicle information in here that you can really dive deep and mess with, or at least look at. I would highly recommend not messing with it, but looking at it is all really neat. And one I always like to mention is the abettertheater.com. Now, this is a cool feature for sure. I don't use it personally, so I'm not gonna like recommend signing up for the premium services or anything, but this gives you access to just more things. Really nice that Plex is on here. Log into your Plex and then pull stuff off your home server, which I have. Really cool there, but just gives you more things that you can actually watch on your vehicle's display. But you could just as easily full screen the browser and go in and type in any of these websites and watch things. But I've seen a lot of people talk about this, so I always want to point it out if you guys don't know about it. Now, one thing that I think is really important for everybody to know is about the manual door releases. Obviously, you've got these up front, which will manually open your front door for driver and passenger, but in the back, obviously you don't have that. But what you do have is this little compartment right here. So there's a little place to put your finger right here. You can lift this up and you get access to that little yellow cable there. And if you pull that, it's going to manually open your door. So let's test that. So we're inside here. Let's see that right here. And boom. Pops that door right open. So if you're ever stuck in the car and the electronic door isn't working for whatever reason, you can always use that to get out. And if you ever need to open your charge port manually, you can always open it with this. So one other thing you can do back here that's really helpful is set a custom trunk opening height. And you can do this by manually moving the trunk and then setting it, but I find that a little bit janky because it fights against you. So what I like to do is just open the trunk and then press the button until it gets to the height I want. Press it again to pause it. And then what you can do to set the custom height is just press and hold this button until it beeps twice like that. And now it's set in place. And then we open it again. It's going to stop at that custom height that we've set it at. So this is really helpful. Obviously, this is a dramatic example, but it's really helpful if you have a lower garage or carport or something like that and you can't have the full opening height, especially on something like the Model Y. All right, we're getting close to the finish line here, but we can't end this video without talking about the Tesla app. It's one of the best parts of owning a Tesla. There's so much stuff that this thing can do. I've covered it in other videos before, but one of the cool little shortcuts that you can do is you've got these little customization buttons up here, kind of quick controls, if you will, and you can push all of these and do things like open the charge port, open the front, open the trunk, nice and easy. These can be completely customized, so if you press and hold on one of them, it's going to bring up all of the different controls that you can actually change it to. So you've got like honk the horn, light show, fart, unlatch the door, summon, sentry, all that kind of stuff. So you can just click one, drag it and drop it where the other one was. But one little cool thing, you can actually add a fifth control. Sometimes it works best if you take your case off because the case kind of gets in the way, but you can pick one and you can drag it all the way to the edge until you see that little extra bit pop up, release it. Then you've got 5 controls. So if we exit out of that, you can see we now have 5. And this also will add that 5th one to your little home screen widget as well. Another cool thing you can do inside of the app is obviously you can view your Sentry mode cameras here. It's not going to let me because I'm inside the car. But one thing you may not have known about is you can actually now view your Sentry mode clips also inside of the app here. So the little record Sentry button at the top, if we press that, you can, change all these different settings and things like that, but you'll see dash cam viewer at the top. If we click that, it'll go ahead and connect to the car. And then you can see these different Sentry mode clips. So I've got one from AutoZone the other day. You can click that, random guy going into the store. But you have easy access to that. You can delete it. You can save a 30-second increment to your phone. You can look at all the different cameras from that clip, which is all really cool, all at one time. Just one thing to keep in mind about this is it will save the video in a lower resolution than you'll get if you pull it off of the flash drive that's inside the glove box. Just something to keep in mind. And for one final really fun little Easter egg, if you press this button when your car's charging 10 times, you're gonna get a little rainbow kaleidoscope effect on there. So let's try it. Look at that. So cool. Just little and random, but cool. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like. Let me know down in the comments which was your favorite, or did I miss one that is your favorite? Let's talk about it down in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be among the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.